Hey guys, welcome back. Right now I am in Spiaggia, Porto, Ruxi, which is a beautiful beach right outside of Villasimius on the island of Sardinia. So it's located in the southeast part of the island. Before I go into where we left off, I'm going to catch you up on just things I've learned along the way, try to fill you in. Excuse my voice, but I definitely need some more sleep. It's catching up to me. And I will try to show you the views along the way. So let's start with that a little bit. One of the many beautiful beaches here, as you can see. So when I met up with my friend Guillermo for lunch back in Rome, he was, just kind of filling me in on some Italian things, etc. He was asking me about drinking coffee and all this. So he told me that as far as drinking cappuccinos go, they're only meant for the morning. So it's not something you ever order past the middle of the day. Of course, I've been doing that. I don't really care, but good to learn the proper traditions. And then everything like pretty much afternoon and beyond, you order a mocha, which I've been learning, of course, all the differences between Italian words we use in the US and what they actually are here. Mocha in the US, I think of chocolate coffee. Here it's literally just like pure coffee in one of those little coffee makers. I don't remember the exact word for those. But anyways, there's a tip for you. What else? I've been loving that you could get a cappuccino for like €1. I'm really gonna miss that. Another thing I've noticed with all the coffee I've been drinking, which is way more than normal, and I've just been getting regular milk with it, which I typically try to avoid, haven't noticed like any dairy issues here. So again, I think that just speaks to the quality of the ingredients, which Italy is known for. As far as the rest of the world tends to be better when it comes to quality, I would say, compared to what we find in the US. So that's been really awesome. As far as olive oil goes, you always want to order extra virgin olive oil. That I have heard before, but don't get anything less than that, basically. Quality won't be as good. And my friend Pierre, back in Frascati, he was kind of talking about that and wine as well, because basically he just said a lot of times they'll kind of try to get around like the rules, and they just might mess with it, which you don't want. So that also applies to the wine. He was saying that you want to there's so many different types of wines in Italy, even though you may only see so many when you go to the store back home or elsewhere, but there's so many. Like, try other ones. There's local wines from the region, so many good ones that are really good quality, and that you can look for a label. I don't remember the entire abbreviation, but it has a G at the end. It's like 3 letters, and that will basically be your sign that it's good quality. And when you're buying wine, like, go to a wine shop, don't get it from the supermarket. It's just not going to be as good. So anyways, just a few little things there to keep in mind. Another thing I remember learning, and again, so like at home, what we call panini is totally different than here. Here it's literally just a sandwich. When back home it's, a specific type of sandwich that's toasted and all that. It's just a sandwich. That's all that means. So yeah, cool learning all these little things along the way. Getting to practice my Italian a little bit. I've been mixing up Spanish and Italian, or English, like everything, because depending who I'm speaking with, going back and forth. So my friend that I met up with, the Peruvian girl that I met in Brazil, I've been speaking Spanish to her, and the Colombian guy or whoever, and then I'm switching back to someone else and like just mixing up all the languages. So that's been fun. I feel like that always happens when I travel, because that's the only other language I know besides English, so I just revert to Spanish wherever I am. I've noticed that people here, a lot of times you'll hear people just be like, like they say that in response to everything, kind of like, yeah, like an agreement, but like you just hear that a lot, I find. So picking up on all those little things. I love how this was more like when I was back in Genzano di Roma, but just something like we would see in the movies when we think of Italy. Like all the windows have these shutters, and they open the shutters and everyone kind of like pops out and they're looking down the street. Very true. My place there had that, and I love that, just being able to like peek out the window, look down the street. So enjoying all those little things. There's a million more, but anyways, that's what's on the top of my mind right now. So I'll try to backtrack some. Well, actually, going back to Castel Gandolfo, when I was over there, the thing I like didn't even mention is there's a castle there. So obviously known for that, and the Pope, I can't remember if he still comes and visits or he used to all the time, but famous for that. Didn't go inside, just saw it from the outside. But anyways, Pierre was telling me, you know, a little bit more about the history and the Vatican and the power of the Vatican, and basically like Italians don't like the Pope, Vatican, etc., all that, because it's been this whole dictatorship like over the past. So anyways, learned about that. Also, Italy has the most UNESCO sites in the world. Rome is actually the first one, city of Rome. So that was cool to learn. They have like over 50. And what else do we have there? Yeah, so that's some more things about Castel Gandolfo and like a little bit of the history of Italy. So after I left off last time in Frascati, I'll show you guys a little bit more of the view again. Not too much, because I think there's an old guy snorkeling behind me. Probably don't want to see that, right? Oh, he might be right there. Anyways, so yeah. Oh, and another thing I forgot to say, like in Frascati, that was just like one of those little things we learned about. That was cool. He pointed out where this jail is, or was. I think it's not working anymore, but, and pointed out a window with like the bars on it. And then you see in the corner of the window where the bars are, there's like this cutout shape in the bars in the bottom corner. So he's like, what do you think that's for, you know? And basically what it is back in the day, people would go visit the prisoners, and then, but they were allowed to like give them wine, because, you know, you got to survive at least with wine, right, if you're going to be in jail. So they have this cutout shape of like a jug of wine that people would visit and pass wine to the prisoners. So I thought that was pretty funny. Oh, another thing. So when I got to the train station after that whole fiasco, if you want to call it that, I tried to use, there's another service here aside from Uber called Free Now, but I think because I was so far out, like outside of the city, wasn't finding anything. But just another option to have, which is good. Cheaper than Uber, I think, if you can find one. Probably better to use in big cities though. So yeah, that was a little bit more about from when I was back over there. And yeah, so after we last spoke and I headed back, I had a dinner with my freelance company, which was really good. I would say that's the best meal I've had since being in Italy. It was at this restaurant close by. Don't ask me the name right now because I don't remember. But yeah, it was delicious. We had all these appetizers and different things. The meals here, another thing that reminds me of Argentina, like long 3-hour meals. Same when I went with my friend Gu for lunch. It was like, you know, they're just long. Dinner, I think, was 3 hours. So, which I love. It's like you enjoy it, take your time, which I'm all about. So yeah, we had some appetizers, like there was a really good eggplant parmesan. There's another thing that's really local, like common to Rome, which I tried at lunch with my friend Gu, but it's like this fried cheese ball, more or less. Don't remember the name of that one. Typically it has anchovies in it, but not always. So more views. So I had an amazing dinner, shared this salad that was really good with pomegranate and figs. I was like tired of pasta and pizza, so I'm like, I need something else. Got some beef, which was literally like kind of like shredded, more or less, pieces of beef, but it was good, but just like meat. And to my surprise, I didn't know what I was ordering, but for dessert, of course, I always go for chocolate, so I asked the waiter between these two things that looked like chocolate cake, and he recommended the better one, which ended up being a molten chocolate lava cake, which is my favorite. So that was awesome. I had a flight out early the next morning to come here. Had to go back and pack. And then of course, like that whole weekend was super fun, but like totally unplanned. So I pretty much like befriended the bartender the night before and was like, oh, I'll go stop by, say hi, bye before I head out, that sort of thing. So I went up there after, again, like for a quick visit, but of course it turned into, I don't know, I was there for over an hour. And I was also trying to figure out how to get to the airport the next day, public transportation, this and that. And actually worked out really well though. There were a few girls sitting at the bar, Italian girls, and one of them was like asking, where are you from, and that whole thing. Turns out she was in San Diego earlier this summer and she like loves it. She wants to move there. So we were chatting a bunch. She's like super excited to talk because she had just been there and everything and loves it. So we talked a bunch while I was there. And she was actually super helpful with like her and her friend. There were 3 of them, but were telling me like as far as getting to the airport. Well, first they told me there was going to be a strike with public transportation, so that wasn't even an option. But like as far as Uber goes, and it's better to order it like right before going, not the next day, because it's way more expensive. So pretty much got to figure out how I was getting to the airport by going to the bar. So super helpful. And on that note, like when I did go, I used Uber, but they have one of the options is a taxi service. So it ended up being like 33 euro, which wasn't too bad considering like I think regular taxi options or other things would have been 50 or like through the company was 70, you know, things like that. So good option to have. I think I checked the free taxi thing, but wasn't really seeing much. So yeah, ended up being a fun night. Chatted with them a bunch, bartenders a bit. Wasn't even planning on drinking because I'd been drinking wine the whole day, but you know, of course they're like making drinks anyway. So they made us this kind of like little shot thing for all of us at the bar. I don't remember what was in that, but it was pretty good. Maybe like a lemony thing, kind of light though. And then some other drink they created where you drink it out of a light bulb. So they're coming out with a new menu and they have all these cool ways of serving the drinks, like light bulb, a teacup, a little bathtub, super like cool, cute stuff they're coming out with. So anyways, it ended up being fun, but of course I got pretty much no sleep. Took a nap before I had to get up and leave super early. Then I did leave super early, got on the flight. I ended up having to pay $70 to check my bag, even though I had already like purchased, because Ryanair, right, they charge you for everything, to bring it carry-on, but the carry-on size was too big, which I think it could have still fit in the overhead bins, but you know, dealt with that, which that's always sucks because that was way more than the flight itself was like 25 bucks, you know. Anyways, there was that. After getting in, I took the train to the bus station. I had to wait a couple hours before the bus was leaving to come here. So I ended up working from the bus station and then also while on the bus. So that's been super convenient, kind of figuring out like the best way to do it based on commuting and the day. Yesterday was definitely like not my average work day, but I was able to get in some of the work on the way and not missing out, just sitting there wasting time. So that worked out well. And then when I got into town, basically got checked into my Airbnb, which is super cute, also quite different than the one in Cinzano di Roma, but more modern, but also really nice. The town here is super cute. I definitely feel like I am in paradise. As you can see, you know, beaches here are gorgeous, but the town's super cute. Kind of reminds me a little bit more of like islands in Greece. It's different, but it feels totally different like than the other cities I've seen in Italy. There's definitely more tourism here, but it's more kept up. So definitely, you know, you'll notice traveling in Italy how old everything is. And I remember when I was here, I think the first time, learning that a lot of things are not even allowed to restore because it's all this like so much history that they're not allowed to touch it. But then you can see the buildings are old and kind of deteriorating. Well, here, like the main part of town, at least, especially, super cute and nice and colorful. You can see it's kept up, so probably restored. Not as much like right outside that main area, but still, for the most part, it is. So just really cute town. I kind of worked here and there throughout the day, like weirdly, not normally just straight through, but it worked out. And later went into town, walked around a bit, and then got some food for the week. Saw there's a surf shop here, which I checked out. Unfortunately, no waves while I'm here, but they do get surf sometimes, so that would be really cool to come back here when there's swell. But yeah, pretty much more or less that's been everything up until now. I just plan on exploring more of the beaches and relaxing and doing that sort of thing every day before I have to start working. So I will give you another basically view of what I'm looking at. And I'll fill you in more because I'm sure I've forgotten plenty of things, but always more to come up. So talk to you guys soon. Bye.